worshipped. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. O King, the personality of Godhead, being very much pleased with Lord Brahma's, because of his non-deceptive penance in Bhakti Yoga, presented his eternal and transcendental form before Brahma. And that is the objective goal for purifying the conditioned soul. Purport. Atma Tattva is the science of both God and the living entity. Both the Supreme Lord and the living entity are known as Atma. The Supreme Lord is called Paramatma, and the living entity is called the Atma, the Brahma or the Jiva. Both the Paramatma and the Chief Atma, being transcendental to the material energy, are called Atma. So Shukadev Goswami explains this verse with the aim of purifying the truths of both the Paramatma and the Chief Atma. Generally, people have many wrong conceptions about both of them. The wrong conception of the Chief Atma is to identify the material body with the pure soul, and the wrong conception of the Paramatma is to think him on an equal level with the living entity. But both misconceptions can be removed by one stroke of Bhakti Yoga, just as in the sunlight, both the sun and the world and everything within the sunlight are properly seen. In the darkness one cannot see the sun, nor himself, nor the world. But in the sunlight one can see the sun, himself, the world around him. Srila Shukadev Goswami therefore says that for purification of both wrong conceptions, the Lord presented his eternal form before Brahmaji. Being fully satisfied by Brahma's non-deceptive vow of discharging Bhakti Yoga, expect for Bhakti Yoga any method for realization of Atma Tattva or the science of Atma will prove deceptive in the long run. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that only by Bhakti Yoga can one know him perfectly, and then one can enter into the science of God. Brahmaji undertook great penance in performing Bhakti Yoga, and thus he was able to see the transcendental form of the Lord. His transcendental form is 100% spiritual, and one can see him only by spiritualized vision, after proper discharge of tapasya or penance, in pure Bhakti Yoga. The form of the Lord manifested before Brahma is not one of the form which we have experienced in the material world. Brahmaji did not perform such severe types of penance just to see a form of material production. Therefore, the question by Maharaj Parikshit about the form of the Lord is answered. The form of the Lord is Satchidananda, or eternal, full of knowledge and full of bliss. But the material form of the living entity, of the living being, is neither eternal nor full of knowledge, nor blissful. That is the distinction between the form of the Lord and that of the conditioned soul. Conditioned souls, however, can regain his form of eternal knowledge and bliss simply by seeing the Lord by means of Bhakti Yoga. The summary is that due to ignorance, the conditioned soul is engaged in the temporary varieties of material forms. But the Supreme Lord has no such temporary form like the conditioned souls. He is always possessed of an eternal form of knowledge and bliss. That is the difference between the Lord and the living entity. One can understand this difference by the process of Bhakti Yoga. Brahma was then told by the Lord the gist of Srimad Bhagavatam in 4 original verses. Thus, Srimad Bhagavatam is not a creation of the mental speculators. The sound of Srimad Bhagavatam is transcendental, and the resonance of Srimad Bhagavatam is as good as that of the Vedas. Thus, the topic of the Srimad Bhagavatam is the science of both the Lord and the living entity. Regular reading or hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam is also performance of Bhakti Yoga, and one can attain the highest perfection simply by the association of Srimad Bhagavatam. Both Shukadev Goswami and Maharaj Parikshit attained perfection through the medium of Srimad Bhagavatam. Atmatattva Vishuddhatam Yataha Bhagavan Ritam Brahmane Dashayanurupam Avyalika Fatartita. O King, the personality of Godhead, being very much pleased with Lord Brahma because of his non-deceptive penance in Bhakti Yoga, presented his eternal and transcendental form before Brahma. And that is the objective goal for purifying the conditioned souls. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vastava Bhutaya Shamadavati Ushan Swami Phenomena Bhagavata Samudaya Bodhaki Padaya Tari Shakti Vishnama Shri Guruvena Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare. Welcome to this auspicious Sankirtan meeting. So I like this verse very much because here, to my opinion, it is described what is the basement of empowerment. And here it is called Avyalika Fratartita. Avyalika means without duplicity. That means wholehearted, without any objections in the mind. And Fratartrita, we know from the Bhagavad Gita, Trita Frata, with firm conviction, with firm determination. So this is this is the fuel of the Sankirtan devotees, no? To go out and to distribute these books to everybody without duplicity, open-hearted, and with full determination. Therefore I decided this is the verse of today to open this Sankirtan meeting. So why I am here? I am not a book distributor at all, but I have a history as a book distributor. In the late 80s, early 90s, I was almost 6 years on Sankirtan. That was, if you see the history in German book distribution, that was the second high time in Sankirtan. This is the representative of the first high time in book distribution here, and Rohini Sutta, they were the heroes. So, and then this, after Prabhupada's disappearance, it collapsed a little bit, and then there was a rejuvenation. Then comes the next part under the guidance of Harikesh, and it was a very, very successful time. Later on, when Harikesh was not there anymore, then his disciple, Mangalananda, he renewed it in the same way. And now I guess we are in the fourth part. And I guess we are in the beginning of an auspicious time. So therefore, I find it important to speak about this. And this time when I was a Sankirtan devotee, it was the beginning of the high time in book distribution, because this border to the east part of Germany was falling down, and it was become an open space to go in the east part of Europe. And that was a new time in book distribution which we have never before. So almost every devotee was able to distribute 200 books a day. You can imagine, you're making your daily efforts, and you know how hard it is. It was, in this time it was really easy, because everybody was curious about what is coming from the West. It's not that they are really interested in spiritual topics. But the devotees had a nice attitude, a pure attitude, and these people in the East, they were also pure, they were almost pure-hearted people. They were not so much polluted as the Westerners by material entanglement. They know what it means to be austere. So, and it was an easy going. But for this, we need a new thinking of environment. So the vans which we had before were not able to carry the load of books in this for 1 week. So we had to create new Sankirtan vans. So we could load at least 2,000 books at once, more than 2,000 books at once, and we were able to live inside. We cooked inside. We had a heating system inside. So we were creating in a short time, almost in 1.5 week, a Sankirtan van. Now we got a van and we were creating, we put everything out, cut the roof out, made a big roof on top, and then isolated, and then made the environment for the books, sleep on the top of the level of the books, and behind there was a for cooking, and later on we had an unplugged shower from outside. So, and then we were going. Sunday afternoon, after the Sunday feast, we left to the east part of Germany. In the morning we were in Erfurt, and in the next day we were already on the Oder, on the border to Poland. So that was very auspicious, and it was really new. And we were very determined. It was and this is the remembrance from which I speak, because why I am here, to get the association of Sankirtan devotees again. So later on, I was transferred in the secret service in prasadam distribution. So, and this I'm doing now since almost 30 years, traveling prasadam distribution. And this is a hard job. And but one can do it only with the background to be trained as a book distributor, as a Sankirtan devotee. And this time almost everybody went out to distribute books. Now this is our family business, how this famous book is telling about. No? This is our understanding, kara para upakara, do good for others. And that is also wanted by Brahma. That is, Krishna is asking him. No? Krishna asked him because he was telling him, he said, tapas. So that is, and Brahma was in the water, and he heard it, and he was, oh, a person is speaking to me. And by this, the first realization, that was the first instruction. This is the Bhagavatam that is the pre-Bhagavatam, tapa. And then Brahma, he received it, and he was thinking about it. He said, a person is speaking to me. So, and by this, the first realization started. He felt obligated. I want to, yes, I want to please this person. I want to know who is this person. So that's what his tapasya, to inquire about the absolute truth. He could understand already, this is something far beyond my imagination. So, and by meditation, by his penances, he reached the goal. And later on, Krishna was pleased with him. And Krishna told him the 4 verses, the Bhagavatam. And he said, my dear Brahma, I am so pleased with you, because without any duplicity, you were performing your service. And you are very determined. So I empower you. And then Brahma get the realization, the first realization, what we all hanker for. Krishna showed him his personal form. And Brahma thanked him by speaking the Brahma Samhita. He was glorifying Krishna. He was glorifying what he was seeing from Krishna and what he could understand from Krishna. Yes, this is very special, and this we are hankering for here. And we don't start by zero. So I guess that you are all realized persons. You all had already so many experience in devotional service, and you all trying hard to continue without an end. So realization means there is no end. No? There isn't a certain realization. We are all on different levels. We are maybe Kanishta Adhikaris, we are Madhyam Adhikaris, we are Uttama Adhikaris. It doesn't matter. What is important is our effort to gain more understanding, to gain more realization of the Atma Tattva, of the science of self-realization, to see us, ourself, in relation to the Lord. And this realization is to be, I am the servant. Dasos min. So, and we are all hankering for instruction, like Brahma. He got an instruction and he was meditating. How I can fill this instruction? How I can please this voice? So this is described what in this process of to get more realization. That is called in another verse. That is called Guru Nishta, Param Atma Nishta. Adyasitam Puvattamai Mahashibhihi Aham Tarishami Duranta Param. I will cross over the ocean of Nischayans, the situation in which I am now in this material ocean, by continuously service to the lotus feet of Mukunda. Tamo Mukundankri Nisheva Yavat. And that is our daily inquiry, Param Atma Nishta. We can do this service as the Sankirtan devotees, as Karapara Upakaris, only in the daily inquiry in Param Atma Nishta, in Guru Nishta. How I can fulfill the wants of my spiritual master, how I can fulfill the mission and help to fulfill the mission of Srila Prabhupada. This is our daily inquiry. So now I want to give over to our Sankirtan General-in-Chief, Manira Prabhu. He has much more to say than I. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, thank you for the nice introduction, which was, I would have a hard time to generate from this shloka what he generated. My collection of shlokas is more the, become a tool, kill them all, things like that. But this was wonderfully explained. The basic points are very relevant to a life of every devotee. Sometimes it is not stressed enough. Prabhupada said the first year I was just walking around observing what are they doing. Prabhupada never saw snow, refrigerator, vacuum cleaner, all this. Prabhupada just said, what is this? He was like an observer, just watching around. What are they doing? Well, then at least I did something. I distributed some books. But then, he of course knew, his spiritual master told him, books, more books. And he had, of course, the goal to present Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita as it is, all this. But how can a single man do that? So actually, and this is reported from his first disciples, Prabhupada engaged them immediately in book production. No distribution, production. They remember him simply sitting behind his metal trunk, just typing something, writing. And they didn't know, what is it? What is he doing there? And Prabhupada was not one, there were actually many gurus coming around the time. He was not the only one. Prabhupada later on make a joke that there is 2 export articles from India, prominent articles. This is rice and gurus. Because Indians are smart, they knew these Western people are so stupid, but they have money. So do you grow a beard, any village man could do that. You grow a beard, you come from India, and you open some yoga branch, and you go, and people give you money, Well, it's a great thing, how you just sit there and they give you money. So there were many of these. Prabhupada was severely attacking this kind of spirit, the reaction for actually preaching with the mood to get money and for one's own well-being. The reaction described in the Shastra is amazing. It's severe. There's a hell really for that. So if you preach to become famous, if you preach to get money, if you preach something always me, then the reactions are severe. Even actually what you are using is good, but the purpose is bad. So there was actually already, again, the same point mentioned like yesterday in the evening in a lecture. It was wonderful. It comes up again. The purity of purpose. That's Prabhupada tested his very first disciples like this. He made a meeting, hippies, just chanting hippies, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. They had questions in the lecture. Prabhupada, when I chant, there's a light over my head. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Prabhupada said, just keep on chanting, it will be switched off. So this was this kind of audience he had, So what was actually, but Prabhupada put them already there on a test. He said, tomorrow we will make a test. Everybody, that was already a small group of loyal followers. He could actually do that. So he said, tomorrow we have a test. Everybody has to come and say, why am I here? And they were all, whoa, panic, Because Prabhupada actually wanted that we formulate ourselves. We express, why am I here? It's a very basic but very important question. And so they were all in panic. Everybody was looking. There was no really books, much. But they knew something. Even like Govinda, Madhipurusha, and so on. One wrote down, I'm here because Brahma said, whatever they could find, in the, And Prabhupada was going, that's very nice, next. That's very nice, next. And then it's recorded, there was one boy who said, Prabhupada, I am here because I like it so much. Prabhupada got a big smile, he said, he's right. It sounds emotional. It sounds sensitive of the desire. The boy was there because he had no agenda, he had no program, no expectations even. He was there because he knew, this is good, this is real, I'm tasting something I never tasted before. That's generally the beginning. So Prabhupada immediately stressed and pointed out the purity of purpose. How is it tested? Quite simple. We don't have to go inside and conduct some psychoanalytical research. I don't want to get really controversial again, but I heard sometimes this kind of attempts. Come together and let's research our inner side. Prabhu, how do you feel? Go inside and deeper and deeper and find out. That's it. Whenever I hear this, I get gooseskin, you know. I think, wrong track, wrong idea, wrong movement. Prabhupada never started something like this. He said, you like it? Then do it. You know, I like it, but actually, what do you mean, do it? I mean, I go again and get a bucket and clean the floor and, and do something with the metta. It's all illusion, it's all illusory, temporary. Why shall I do that? Very often people come up with this. Prabhupada was like, no. He said, now we are engaged in devotional service. This is transcendental. This is not matter. And he pointed to an old cupboard in the Brahmacharya ashram. And the devotees were going, whoa, the cupboard is transcendental. Wow. Suddenly everybody started to look different. And actually the other devotees start to look also different. Those days people joined in batches, hippies. Hippies were hanging out together. It was actually a very favorable time. It was not this individualistic, separatistic, egocentric time like today. People actually already had the tendency to flock in communities and come together and and live together and do all kinds of things together. We don't want to mention here, So it was all together. So Prabhupada, that was easy to adopt that. So Prabhupada said, no, we are also together, but different motivation, different purpose. And suddenly things start to look differently. Other devotee, this is a devotee now, okay? This is not the good old body from last time, familiarity. This is a very dangerous thing. Familiarity brings contempt. It's, it's very dangerous. And we see it coming up again. Especially when devotees are a long time, just the same groups, the same type. I experienced it in the Sankirtan van even, I came in the Sankirtan, I was always kind of the leader. So, when I in the morning turned around in the Sankirtan van, I was going, so, now we lecture. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And I had three brahmacharis there who were traveling with me the last 2 years, So they looked at me like, not again, Yeah. Our Sankirtan leader, yeah. And suddenly it becomes, it's not inspirational. So I stopped that actually. And I said, okay, now everybody gives a lecture. And I passed the Bhagavatam around and everybody had to say something. And then everybody got more alive. Yeah. Actually, I don't want to get into that again, but leadership means facilitating, not dominating. Okay? Facilitating. I was 25 years temple president. I don't remember anything else as running the whole day around, and I see here the temple president doing exactly the same, and simply facilitating and collecting garbage. That's also important. People bring nothing inspirational to you when you are a manager. Forget it. Yeah. It's just, I need this. Why it's not like that? Complain like this. Normal. It's life. Once I asked my GBC, how can manager avoid problems? And he said, avoiding problems? Manager? He said, manager is eating problems for the breakfast. He made like this. And if you don't have that mentality, then you are in the wrong place. This is a very special service for very special devotees. You have to have a nature for this. Hey, where is the problem? And And that's how actually I realized my Varna-like example. I thought I was completely different. And I have to become Brahminical, peaceful, and, and this, and kind, smiling. Well, as a manager, you end up in situations, it's simply not possible. You have to make a judgment. You have to discriminate. You have to do good, bad. No, like this, like that. And you get opposition. Especially in Kali Yuga, Anything you manage in Kali, you get opposition. And you have to be really emotionally ready for that. It's tearing you apart. You think, why shall I as a devotee? And we call it the Arjuna syndrome, Yeah. No, I will not fight this battle. I go in a forest, I will be peaceful. I will be Brahmana. Krishna is laughing. I mean, they are friends. They know each other. I said, you, Brahmana? Oh, Mahabaho. That's going to be a pretty heavy Brahmana, No, you cannot change your nature. It's sometimes pathetic to see how devotees, because actually we need Brahmanas, yes. But who is a Brahmana? Let's see, I was always enjoying it in Germany. You know how you test the German Brahmana? You tell him, no, you are not a Brahmana. And he goes, what do you mean? And you go, well, it's not exactly a Brahmanical response. It's simple. How do you know somebody is a Brahmana? You tell him he is not a Brahmana. And real Brahmana, he will go, oh, that's an interesting information. Can you explain to me how I am not a Brahmana? And if you cannot explain it, then you are a fool. Because Brahmana deal everything on the level of, can you explain to me, please? No false ego. There's zero. Just collecting information. Analytical study. What is it? So therefore, without Brahminical guidance, we are lost. Even the manager type, And that's the first, and how do you recognize the real manager? He instinctively, immediately seeks a shelter of a Brahmana. He needs reference all the time. I had to say I had that luxury. I never did something because I thought so. I had my decision field, I had to make decisions, but I had to have it verified all the time. Even today I live like that. And I'm not a manager anymore, I'm nothing. But I have to have a Brahmana here over me. And Brahmana, it's a wonderful, it's a luxury to find a real Brahminical, shelter. I have a godbrother who is watching me. We communicate all the time. And he's so gentle, And we have an agreement. We are friends. We are godbrothers. When he came to me and he said, I want to be your friend. I said, well, what does it mean? Nobody ever did this before to me. Godbrother coming, I want to be your friend. I was going, whoa. And I challenged him immediately. I said, what do you mean by that? And he said, well, if you see me falling in Maya, you have to grab me like this and shake me like that. And he did that. I was going, oh, that sounds good. And I told him, will you do the same thing to me? And he said, yes. That's friendship. Sometimes instead of worshipping the soul, we are worshipping the false ego, you know that? Wrong track. It's violence. It's a violent thing to tell somebody, oh, you are so great, and you have a little shortcomings, no problem. Just you're a little bit criminal and a little bit cheating and lying, and we are here to get purified and corrected, and we are here. And Prabhupada gave us a very practical ways to do that. Now I can start because he just entered, one of the biggest Sankirtan heroes here in Europe. Really, Sankirtan Prabhu ki jai. Now I can switch. to the ultimate purification process. And please, don't misunderstand. Prabhupada personally wrote to me, devotional service is absolute. I took it like a warning. I was the Sankirtan #1 here in Germany and all this. I took it like a warning, don't get puffed up. Devotional service is absolute. Any kind of devotional service. And then Prabhupada said, but even on that platform there is gradation. And then that was a letter written in response of me and Rohini Sutta first time crossing the 500 books a week, like limit. Prabhupada's response was amazing. He was just in Vrindavan. And at that time, the GBC in Germany, Jaya Theatre, he just told him, there's 2 boys in Germany. They first time distributed, I think, 501, 502 books. We had a fierce competition. Rohini was always defeating me. So, Prabhupada just said, bring me a paper. All. Immediately. So they brought him this Indian aerogram, it's like a paper, you fold together, it becomes an envelope. Yeah. Prabhupada immediately dictated a letter. That letter you find, it's published in various books. Simply thanking us for that service. And writing this, that devotional service is absolute, but even there, those who distribute Krishna consciousness are most dear to Krishna. So, without discriminating any other service, and I tell you, when I see a pujari standing on the altar for the 20 years, and he's still the same pujari standing there, I go, wow, how did he do that? This is a path, this is a type of devotional service. You put me on an altar, you put me in a kitchen, there will be a problem. Not exactly. I'm the street man, I'm from the street. So, but Prabhupada wanted this book distribution and this Sankirtan to be that basis of this movement. Back to the initial point I started with. This is the reason he initiated disciples. There's a really letter from Prabhupada existing. Prabhupada writes, initiation should actually be given only those who are actively taking part in the missionary activities of Krishna consciousness movement. The others, they should be encouraged. They should be, wonderfully, encouraged to chant Hare Krishna and participate. But this is for preachers, for people who are, and we are not meaning, in today's context, just those brahmacharis or sannyasis who are out there, we know, as was mentioned, this is our family business, is a Sankirtan culture. I know like one, I could call it sect or whatever, they have a rule that if you want to be member of that movement, then you have to stand certain amount of time on the street. You find them standing there with they just stand there, with the paper. But you have to be publicly broadcasting this movement for a certain time. And then you are established, you are a member. Prabhupada wanted us to maintain this consciousness for all the time. Now somebody, of course, can immediately come up with this, nowadays we have most devotees are grihastas, families, so many responsible. That is not an obstacle. Yeah. We have nowadays few amazing empowered devotees who can do amazing things. 1,000 Bhagavatam sets in 1 year distributed by one man. That's Mahotsava, America, Atlanta, incredible. That's a devotee who doesn't distribute books he's distributing them on boxes, piles like that. For me, how did he do that? So, but there are few. Nevertheless, the real power of book distribution comes when everybody takes part in it. Somehow. We have Shastra done. Somebody cannot even go out. Or he is ashamed to go out. Then support it. Finance the books. That was already happening in Prabhupada's presence. I know yatras like Slovenia, they have a big tradition on this, where, where they do most of the distribution like that. I don't want to go into it, but Slovenian people, they are a little bit Vaishya type, So they don't mind. Yeah, please. I buy a pallet of Bhagavad Gitas. And you do with it what you want. And every year they have targeting different areas where the books are then for free distributed. Devotees said, but Prabhupada, you said we should never give out the books for free. Prabhupada said, they are not for free, they are already paid for. Simple. So this is one idea, this is just one part. Everybody is a moment. And I tell you, and I promise you, you touch that service, become happy. I can start the story right away from this marathon. Sankirtan Prabhu is a wonderful leader of a farm community, actually, and he is the best book distributor, one of the best in Europe, and in Czech for sure. Grihasthas are giving him children, you know that. There's a photo of him existing from this marathon. He is going with a Sankirtan trolley, packed with books. And on the top of that sits a little boy. When I saw it, I was going, this is the continuation of Sankirtan. I know that boy well. It's a heavy guy. Yeah, there were different children also, but this is a heavy guy. He just comes to you and it's an introduction, he may slap you, I don't know what. I mean, he just, Exactly the man for Sankirtan. He knows that. So he just, and the Grihasthas were the father was very happy. He was the one who sent me the photo. He said, my son is on Sankirtan. He just put him out and I think so far I heard, he stops the people and the boy brings the book. And the boy was like, yeah! Mukta Kesha, his father, he wrote to me, he said, next day he wanted to go again. So this is called culture, Sankirtan culture. You see? Yeah? It's there, established as something you simply do. How much you distribute, how long you can go out, whatever you can do, that's a secondary consideration. But be somehow a part of it. That's the whole idea. And I tell you, it creates an atmosphere. Because Sankirtan as a service has one, I could go now for hours, of course. This is for me really, I just didn't even start it. But, give a long list of benefits you get when you touch that service and go on Sankirtan. And it boils down to purity of purpose. Because you cannot be hypocrite on Sankirtan. You cannot go out and going, I'm a great devotee here. Today only Paramahamsas distributing, okay? Chief Jago, take them. You know what people will do? That's what they will do. They couldn't care less who you are. You cannot say, I'm a guru, Oh, you are guru, that's the worst ones. That's the public response. I'm sannyasi. Oh, that's the guy with the stick. Oh, it's like Santa Claus, isn't it? Or something like that. Yeah? There's no knowledge about culture in India it's different. But here in the West, we are among savages. There's nobody knows anything. So what makes that devotee being really a Sankirtan devotee? That's the purity of purpose. This is beyond Varna and Ashrama. This is beyond any designations. This is really Sarvapadi Vinimukta. This is really beyond that. You are simply a plain servant of Krishna. Here, today, take it or leave it. We got so much opposition. Now Germany is confused. They cannot even focus on us, They cannot even... but when I joined in Germany, that was still the old Germany. Okay? Proud Germany. We are back again. Wirtschaftswunder. We did it again. Yeah? Mr. Adenauer will save us all, and here we go. There was such a pride and arrogance on the street, powered still by people who were actually crying on Hitler's birthday. Really. I went to the gas station once, and I tanked a car near Frankfurt, and we had a habit to exchange, even at the gas station, to pay the petrol with books or something like that. And the man was not averse to book, but he was so depressed, he was crying. And I was going, why is he man? What happened? So, he took even some small book, and I paid a little bit additional, some petrol. He cried, and I was going, why is he crying? And he looked at me and said, today is his birthday. I mean, why did he lost? Poor guy. He had to fight on two fronts, Russian and, we could have won that. He was still mourning Hitler, on his birthday. This was the Germany, and we distributed books in. Now just imagine us appearing there. First of all, just being shaved was scandalous. Nobody was bald-headed. Just people who lost hair were bald-headed, but otherwise nobody. So people were just going, oh, young man, no hair, what is this? Then I saw this here. Whoa, what is this? And then Doty, oh my God. People called police just by seeing us. There's a madman on the street in a bedsheet, And Germans like to call police. Oh yeah. And there were always police. People were shocked. And I don't want to go and insult the German nation, because today really Germany is slightly, I see it, it's really changed, and it's so confused, and it's so, and there are people running with knives around, killing people on the street and things like that. So we are like angels. Just to give you an idea, I was participating in Ratha Yatra in Köln, and it was supervised by the police, the procession in Köln. And there was two policemen, man and woman, and they were so happy. They were smiling and watching devotees passing by and pulling Lord Jagannath. And so I just went to them, and devotees were feeding them, sweet balls and all this. And I just passed by, and I said, oh, you look like a happy police. And he said, oh yeah, we are happy. He said, and then the man was quite nice. He said, I tell you a secret. Yesterday we were fighting in a police station. Who will be on service today? Who will be the guard of the Ratha Yatra? Because, this is for me holiday. We stand here, everything is nicely organized, and we are just singing and dancing, and they're feeding us nice food. He said, to be policeman on such an occasion, no one. He said, it was a big fight. Who will have today's service? Because tomorrow we have a service on a demonstration of Serbian separatists. We have to come with horses, and gummi things to keep these people under control, because they will guarantee fight, So he said, that's service. But Hare Krishna, we are known also in many countries, like in Czech Republic, it's amazing. The media is writing even about dangerous sex sometimes and all this. Never about Hare Krishna. We are totally excluded. And Czechs are known as the most atheistic nation in the whole world. This is not true. Because actually, devotees do distribute books. And we are also known in Czech as a restaurant movement. There's so many Govindas you cannot imagine in Prague alone. So people go, Hare Krishna, oh, good food. Oh, good food. And then good book, okay. Actually, people like to read. Czechs are very literary people. In Czech, you drive subway in Prague, half of the people stands there and reads book during the drive. It's very much established. I grew up in that place. Even a worker in a factory got as a reward a book. Always book, book, book. It was always like that. And very high quality print, So I grew up with books. Books were like my friends, This was like, that's what it is. So that's different from country to country. Germans actually have also a big book tradition. There is still a Frankfurt book fair in these digital days, which they sell books, many books. How come? So we have the real books. So book distribution is actually a culture. Nobody is disqualified to distribute books. I would tell you now for the next 1 hour, what kind of crazy far people I took on Sankirtan. Really, people in the initial days of this yatra, German yatra, there was a simple policy. There was no bhakta program. No, nothing of this. Somebody joined, you shave him up, next day he's on the street. Sankirtan makes him or breaks him. That was the idea. That was the testing field. I joined like that. I was 3 days in a temple, lost my hair, got some pink curtain as a dhoti because nobody was in India yet. I remember it was an orange curtain. It was a good quality. I had it for years. That was my dhoti, and I was on the street. I had no idea what I'm doing. I asked the devotees, what shall I say? And they said, well, you tell them we are monks, we are coming from India, and there are many hungry children in India, they should give donation. I was going, yeah, but I never was in India. And they were going, shut up, this is a mantra. I was going, oh, now I have 2 mantras, I have the Hare Krishna mantra and I have this nonsense, But I did it like, I didn't know anything was to say, And somehow the first day, I remember very vividly, the first day, I was struggling with the dhoti and the wind was blowing this way. I was going, and you have no hair. It's like somebody cut off your head, And people just seeing me were going, just by seeing me. So actually I distributed whatever they took to half-conscious people, They were like holding on the magazine, on the book, and they couldn't hear what I'm saying anyway. But I was just like, if you could give a little bit, And actually they took it. Quite amazing. So in the evening, devotees picked me up. I was so gone. I completely forgot to chant and everything, And they unloaded me in a temple. I remember the temple president, Handatuta, he just came down the stairs and he said, how was the new one? Well, he did, 100 magazines the first day. He got a big smile. I remember that smile. He was going, hey, he is a Sankirtan devotee. It was like we got him. And that was for the next 15 years. I never hardly saw a temple. Temple was for me a book lager with books. And Sunday feast, have a kirtan and then you go again. That's it. That was for me temple. So that's today we have a different times, yes. But I saw wonders happening. Amazing things happening on Sankirtan. Not just by people taking books who were absolutely unqualified to take the book, It's not like Srila Prabhupada presented that, look how popular the books are, so much book distribution. Well, we saw it a little bit differently as Sankirtan devotees. For us, this is the people, okay. Nobody wants a book. We give it to them anyway. Why? Because Prabhupada wants that. Then the police always catch that in Germany. And they ask, who organized all this action here? We show them either a book with picture of Prabhupada, it was him. And they were like, where is he? In India. Oh, okay. Or later on, we had very famous, very popular, was to show them a picture of Nishingadev, This was him, he organized the whole thing. Especially like the one where Nishingadev takes care of Hiranyakashipu's followers, like, he said. And they were like going, okay, just get out. They were sort of, we are all crazy, So anyway, this is the old days. I'm just mentioning it. How wonderful actually the preaching field is today. And it will become better, I tell you. For one reason. Because this society goes to hell. You may think this is a little bit too radical, fanatical. Technically spoken, this society goes to hell. And you don't have to be a devotee to understand that. There's economical people, there's people who knows that this is a dead-end road. This is finished. There's really, this is falling apart on every corner. Confusion everywhere. The politicians, at least in my days, they looked a little bit like politicians. Now they look like clowns. It's a joke. It's just, I can just laugh when I see this. Saying, this is a politician? Used to be a TV entertainer yesterday, making jokes, and next day he is a leader of the country. What is his qualification? There's only one qualification. It's a puppet. So this kind of things, I don't want to become, there's no use political, but it's falling apart. And I tell you quite frankly, personally, I wish it could be a little bit faster. So we get more serious in Krishna consciousness. We understand this is not just some inner voyage meditation. No, this is a way to survive. This is the only way to survive. Otherwise, you can even hear even there's always possibility to get deviated. And Maya is good at it. Maya comes on all kinds of levels, always adjusting, and looking for our little hidden motivations. Maya is enhancing the hidden motivation. Come on, you want that, isn't it? No, look, that's how you can do it. Come on, try it out. Therefore, Prabhupada said this movement is only for intelligent people. We are cultivating intelligence, which is warning us, no, don't do that. It looks good now, but the end will be very bitter. Don't do this. All this you learn on Sankirtan. All this. The mercy coming down on a Sankirtan devotee, the revelation and the eyes which his eyes get open. It's amazing sometimes. It's so exciting to see this. I saw devotees going on Sankirtan who were coming in such a damaged state, they couldn't even remember their name. Drug abuse. Within few weeks, this became a functionable, normal Sankirtan devotee. It's just so amazing to see the conditioning of the soul falling away and the pure soul coming out. I tell you, if you want to have some fun, try it out. Sankirtan is really so amazing. Even the way we associate with Sankirtan devotees, it's so easy. Haribol Prabhu, Sankirtan ki jaya, here we go. Otherwise, I would say that would be a problem. I traveled with the Sankirtan parties, where without Sankirtan, we would definitely not travel together. I met people in Krishna consciousness which without devotional service and Sankirtan, I wouldn't like to meet. No. All kinds of people. Sometimes devotees come, those days was popular, they say what they did before they joined. Just the stories are horrifying, It's good. What? When I joined this movement, there was a kind of, it was a very special group. There was practically no bhakta without criminal record. There was no, drugs were like talking about, food. And I was not, sorry, but I was not fitting into that. I was just a dreaming, boy sitting at home, and when I joined this crew of these heavy people, I got the German training, just, it was like military. Even worse. I would say paramilitary, half-terroristic group. That was the, consciousness of these young people. So for me it was like, I will die here. I said, really, I will die here. They were all in that mood. Let's die for Prabhupada. Well, it takes a little bit of time. Obviously, I didn't die yet. Then I realized that actually the secret of Krishna consciousness is how to live for Prabhupada. Dying, that comes automatically. But what do you do in between? Then it starts to get complicated. who is me, and what is my nature, and how do I apply myself in Krishna consciousness. All this, when you solve these problems by facing yourself, well, Sankirtan is like a mirror, When you look in that mirror of Sankirtan, you will get lots of information. Like I thought I was a very artistic, very subtle and very shy boy. Actually, I was like that. 2 weeks on Sankirtan, getting this German, Verschwinde, and Polizei, and all this in my face. I realized I start to like it here. I really like it. Of course, I had a wonderful association with people who all like it. We were going out and, come on, more police, okay, come on. It was all this, okay. That's not to be replicated and maybe not needed even that much. But we are opposing Maya. That's a heavy fight. That's a heavy opposition. So, I realized I start to like it. It's a challenge here. Hey, that brings me alive. There's something to do. We have a task to fulfill. That mood is actually the mood which comes in everybody who is actually joining the Sankirtan movement. We have a challenge. We have a task to fulfill. We have a mission. We didn't came here just to sympathize with Krishna. It's nice. It's better as to oppose him. But Krishna is nice, but I'm also nice. We are both nice, isn't it? You can practice Krishna consciousness like that, but you don't get the real taste. The real taste comes when you realize, I'm finished. I have nothing. I'm done. Krishna, whatever you please, do something with me. Let me dance. Please use me. I want to become your tool. When Krishna starts to use you, the instant result is ecstasy. As a devotees, we were so ecstatic on Sankirtan, we couldn't sleep, I remember Niklananda Prabhu was the one. We were lying in the Sankirtan vents, bang, 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 like next to each other. And I woke up at night and Niklananda was sitting in a sleeping bag. And he was smiling and he was going, and if you could give a little bit more. I look at him and I realized he is still sleeping. So I was going, boop, boop, and he was going, thank you. And then he never woke up. He was, keeping on rolling at night. We were so ecstatic, you cannot imagine. In midst of all the opposition and all the adversities, we were just, we couldn't even sleep, we were so happy. The kirtans were smashing. It was a little bit overdone. We were young people, When you are young, you don't know where the passion is and where the enthusiasm is, and it's all one thing, Now I know the difference. When I'm enthusiastic, I know. When I'm passionate, I get trouble immediately, Something breaks, or, you go, okay, yeah, well, Hare Krishna, yeah. So you learn the difference, But the enthusiasm we should never lose. Why should we do that? And we are obliged to be enthusiastic to Prabhupada. For that, what he has done for us. We have an immense debt to be paid. It can be never paid. We got something so amazing and so wonderful. The more you realize it, naturally, that should be a natural instinct, you want to share it with others. I remember every time a new German book was published, it was like a feast, it was like a festival. You were going on a street, fresh from printer. I remember Preetu, he was like this. He was going, hello, take the book. It's hot. People were going, Preetu is a hypnotizer, so he could really hypnotize people, He had the mantras which I was going, he said, I remember the Nectar of Devotion came up. It was brown cover, and inside it is like a grayish, like that. And he said, this book is outside like chocolate, inside like marzipan. I mean, what has this to do with book distribution, actually? But people were buying it like anything. They were going, okay, how much is it? You know, it sounds crazy. But that's what you are dealing with on a street. Typical disease of any beginner, of a new bhakta going out. I took many people on the street, you know, I love to do that. So they go like, we are missionary now, okay? So they take the book, you know, and they go, you know, like, Chief Jago, here we have the Veda, the divine knowledge to save your conditioned soul. Come and take the mercy. And people go, and you know, and that's it. Sankirtan is on a level which is actually not rational. You cannot, these people are running on a street. They are completely under the control of the modes of material nature. They don't know what they are doing. So Sankirtan devotees naturally become perfect psychologists without knowing that even. I give you an example. I know a few Sankirtan devotees here, how they distribute. Everybody is different. It's amazing. Okay, sorry, I get with you again. Sankirtan Prabhu, you know, he's like 2 meters. And he goes, just approaching people, people go. And then he has this kind of deep voice. He doesn't make any spectacular show, nothing. For him, it's like completely natural to distribute books. He is so natural that people also naturally take the book. Why not? They don't find any reason not to take the book, actually. Because he finds no reason not to distribute them. When you watch this, it's unbelievable. But he has his nature, of course. I'm not going to be autobiographic on him, but it's... I spoke to his father, then I get a little bit of him also, you know. It's connected to something. Can I say that? His father is a police inspector, was. And devotees told me when they meet police and they try to give some trouble to them, they send him to him. And he goes, okay, we are police. Well, my father too. You know, watch out what you are saying. I know your rights, and you know what you can do and what you shouldn't do. I know that. And just by doing that, people in the police goes, okay, so we wish you good luck, bye-bye, you know. And they're just like, okay. They know this is not very good. This man knows, actually. But this is not just that. It's much more. It's a spiritual thing. People take shelter in him. It's unbelievable when I see it, how people stand next to him always, yeah, you know, oh yeah, really? Yeah. You know, it's unbelievable. Because he is a shelter-giving person. That's his life. That's his life. Now, I don't want to make it all into and embarrass him. You know, he's not even blushing. That's really great. So, you know, but all devotees are different. They have their nature. And to see that nature being applied in a preaching field, it's fantastic. You don't even know who you are. You don't even know what you can do. Just go in Sankirtan and try to find it out. You will be amazing. I'm always laughing in the Mataji department. Yeah, I used to take Matajis out too, you know. So I always laugh about this. So they're always like, you know, they look like they're shy. Well, you know, you should see them on the street, you know. Prabhupada liked that. And he did something that was never done in the history of Vaishnavism. He put the women on the street. He made them to preachers. Also in an environment which, you know, this is a society where, maybe, I don't know, in Germany, but I'm coming from Sweden. When in Sweden a woman says something, that's absolute truth. Absolute, nobody argues. Woman said. Man said, because in Sweden being a man is really bad karma, you know. So, you know, it's a feministic country. So, you know, but that can be used. Okay, we'll go to women, get them on something. But I saw women telling to people on the street. No, my wife was one of the worst ones. You know, when she started to preach, I was like, she was going, you're stupid. And then I was going, oh, it couldn't be so bad. No, it's even worse as you think. You are really stupid. I mean, if I would say that, the man would slam me or call police. When she said it, he was just... I enjoyed it to watch on this. I was going, what an idiot. Look at this. He's really stupid. So there's a power in this. I'm not advocating here some heavy thing on the street, but what Matajis can do on the street, brahmacharis can never do. Matajis, I saw Matajis distributing lots of books. Germany had a time where there was such a heavy Mataji army here. And they did sometimes more books like the brahmacharis. Heavy. I mean, I was managing that, I know. There's only one alive. Rohini Devidasi. Yeah. So...
later on the same.
Huh?
Later on the same. The Matajis were much more austere than the Prabhus. We discovered later on when I become married. When
well, not only austere. Like you open a Mataji Sankirtan van.
Everything is clean.
Clean kitchen, everything. Pop, 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 pop. You open a brahmachari Sankirtan van, there was a pile of garbage falling out, like, So, yeah, it was like that, And so if some woman tries to be liberated woman, go on Sankirtan. Please, show it. Then you'll be a liberated soul. Because on Sankirtan, these bodily things, they all vanish. If we are not women and men going on Sankirtan, we are eternal servants of Krishna. That's it. There's nothing more to it. The packaging, yeah, it's there. We have to deal with that. But it's not the real thing. The real thing is we are eternal servants of Krishna. And on Sankirtan, it's so beautifully demonstrated. And the more we do it with a pure motivation, just to please Srila Prabhupada, please Guru Parampara, just do that. Because yesterday in the evenings, so wonderfully pointed out more like, what else do you want to do? Because I tell you, to live material life, it's boring. You eat, then you pass through, and then clean up, becomes dirty again. Every grihastha knows that, these routines, It's like bang, bang, bang every day. And you know what you get for this at the end? You die. That was it. I joined this movement, I was 18. Now I am 70, and I tell you, I had a fantastic life. With all the misery and all the trouble and all this, I sang every day Prabhupada. What a life. I really, I'm supposed to be some kind of old man, isn't it? Some kind of engineer,
It doesn't look like.
Man of wisdom. It's not so easy. I forget it. I have no time for this. Because we have the example of Prabhupada, who was the youngest member of the Hare Krishna movement. All the hippies, they were in the age of his grandchildren. And they were like, we have to think about it. Prabhupada said, no thinking, dancing, here. No thinking, chanting, dancing, here, prasadam. Prabhupada shows them how to become happy. This is actually what happens to you when you are living in Krishna consciousness. And of course there's damages, and of course the body grows out. So what? Every day I hear somebody died. Well, it's common sense. Maybe this is the last Sankirtan meeting I will be in. Maybe next year I'm dead, But at least I can say I had some fun. The others, they didn't. It's pity. It's really, you get pity on karmis when you see it, how they every day go the same thing again. Christmas, Christmas. Even as a kami, I hated organized happiness. I really knew how to spoil it. I hated even photos, My father was a fierce photographer. He always posted, we had to stand there on holiday. And all these photos you see, I still have some of them. I'm ruining all the photos. I always go, you know. I hate this organized happiness, because real happiness comes on its own. It's just there. And that's what you get on Sankirtan, that's what you get in Krishna consciousness. So please, let's enjoy ourselves here. And let's edit out this miserable, it's a whole miserable news. It's a very day miserable news, okay? You heard it? It's horrible. Now, I am in an age when I go, try to surprise me with something horrible. Something really horrible. Tell me something. I don't think it's possible. Because I know where it happened, and I know when it happened, to whom it happened. I saw it, kind of. It was horrible. So what? What am I supposed to do with it? It happened. We have now, today, this is Krishna consciousness. Association with most wonderful Sankirtan devotees. And we have the right to enjoy ourselves. As Prabhupada said. He said it to one devotee. He was the whole day running in Bombay trying to get some permission. This was during the construction of the temple. And Prabhupada in the evening gave a lecture, and the devotee came completely depressed, in India, this corrupt country, and to get some paper is just horrible. So he came in the evening completely depressed, and he was sitting there. Prabhupada just started the lecture, and Prabhupada immediately noticed and was very grateful for that service. So he said in the lecture, but he actually looked at him and he said, we have to be always ecstatic in Krishna consciousness, even when the authorities don't give any permission. And the devotee immediately lightened up. He forgot the whole thing. Because that's the mood in Krishna consciousness. We have the right to become happy people. Because we are not this body, So let's try to do that. It's easy to say, but let's try to do that. And it's easy, if somebody wants to get this taste, try to distribute a book. It's so rewarding, it's so ecstatic. Thank you very much for hearing. I think I'm overdoing the time again, and I don't want to go more. I'm famous for this, the temple presidents always go like this. So, sorry for that, but there is so much to get in Krishna consciousness. Let's get it. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Manila Prabhu ki jai. I'm so happy to be a part of your family, of the Prabhupada family, and in your association. Thank you very much.
Okay, what is the program? We are interfering, or everybody is hungry, or what? I'm very audience-oriented, because I notice when devotees get hungry or sleepy or this, then I can cut it short. But otherwise, I can talk the whole day. There's so much to say about Sankirtan, especially when you are in the right association. There's so much.
What do you think about organization? My question to you is, what do you think about organization?
Organization, Prabhupada had a very quick comment. He said, only as much as is necessary.
Okay.
Don't overdo it.
Because in this time, on the Harikesh time, we were very much organized in book distribution.
And it brought good results.
Yes.
But the test came. I feel like we were tested. But in a very simple way. The leader was gone. When the leader disappeared, then it was up to us. And let's see who got really motivated in which way. It became very evident. So those who were actually, rightly motivated, they were immediately seeking a ways to apply themselves again in Krishna consciousness in a productive way. And those who were other motivated, they were just frustrated. They said, this doesn't work anymore, bye-bye. And that's it. Simple. There was a time, there was really in Germany only one Sankirtan devotee, Magananda. Yes. We used to be very close connected. I used to visit him from his house with his wife, who was she is still alive. Amazing cook. So she just cooked this fantastic feast, and he started again to draw boys into his van, just like that. No official program, really. And because he was going out still, he was giving the example. One after another, they just kind of stuck to him. It was two things, his example and the prasadam of his wife. She really, to have Dara's feast was incredible, because he was a big eater too. So, that's one man. Otherwise there was nothing here. It was burned down. So, I don't want to even go in detail and remember these days. I was not really here, I was in Scandinavia, but I just passed through. It was like going through a desert. So, and then I was amazed. Hey, it's coming again. It's becoming again alive. And then I got the faith that you cannot stop this. This will come alive one way or another. And I tell you one thing, if we don't distribute the books, somebody else will, sooner or later. This is indestructible. This is parampara. This is Prabhupada, most cherished desire. And Krishna will arrange that somebody will do that. So why not we? Hey, let's be part of it. It's great. It's a privilege to be part of something like this. Once I remember I came into the office of our GBC and I was in a heroic mood, Yes, but I was sick. And I said, who will distribute these books? I'm sick. And he looked at me completely cool and he said, this movement is run by Lord Chaitanya, meaning not by you. Don't go and lay down and get healthy, Yeah? It was very educational. Oh, my good brother, my best friend, he has a wonderful mantra for this. He said, with all our congregational incapability, stupidity and incompetence, we cannot stop the flow of the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's Bhakti. So, let's become part of it. It's great. Somehow. And let's have some fun. Come on. I joined this movement because I never saw such a small, concentrated group of people having so much fun. I'm coming from a Czech tradition. They are champions of dark sarcasm and melancholy. They know how to spoil your day. Czech jokes are always like the most deadly, sinister type. And they like it. They go, this was really sick. Yeah. They liked it. It's kind of morbid taste they have. Something Germans don't understand. Or what are these Czechs doing? The Czechs like this. They get invigorated by that. Oh, this was really sick. So with this mood that you cannot apply in Krishna consciousness, really. So it was for me shocking to see so many happy people at once. And then I looked and I realized they have nothing. People who have nothing. People who are insulted on a street every day and they come back and they are so ecstatic. That was convincing. I was thinking, they must have something which I never saw before. What is it? I also want to become like this. So we have the duty to become actually ecstatic. That's our preaching tool. How many Sankirtan devotees became Sankirtan devotees simply by associating with Sankirtan devotees? They're going, wow, that's out. They are happy. I want to also try it out. Because materially spoken, nobody here is qualified to distribute a book. There's no material qualification for that. I remember once a Bhakta joined who was a seller before. They told me this would be a good Sankirtan devotee. He was selling lots of vacuum cleaners or something like this. He didn't last even one day on Sankirtan. And then I saw people Mataji is joining. My God, you think, how can this little girl go on Sankirtan, You know? Yeah. I remember one girl, she was really mentally very disturbed. She spoke always too fast, and there's a women like this. You go Mataji, they go, yes, something like that. Completely overdrive, mental overdrive. And I was going, okay, I think the only solution to this is she can go on Sankirtan. And she was doing the same thing with people. Hello! People were just going, She almost jumped on people, completely in overdrive. But she became a very reasonable Sankirtan devotee. She cooled down, still quite specific, but it's quite special. But she cooled down and she became quite a normal person, It's all happening on Sankirtan. Okay, please, I don't want to take more of your time. There's other things on the program.
Thank you very much. But so if there are some questions, we can still do some short. Yeah, because with their breakfast, so if those who are very hungry or are not able to fast because
you have
of
the fasting. Great.
So
great.
fasting is until noon, good. And those who can't fast for whatever reasons, there is some prasadam outside, but we can do a little bit longer if there are some questions.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. I would like to know from you, from the past days, from these early days, about this like competition mood or the mood of who will be the best. And I would like to know from you, maybe in comparison to nowadays, about kind of like the rules for distributing. Because, for example, nowadays we have, free books, sometimes even not BBT books, not at all Prabhupada books. We're distributing them in the marathon and giving them on the list. Then we have Arabic books, small booklet, very tiny, 3 points. And in comparison, Krishna book, less points. And my question to you is, because for me it played a role in this marathon, is it really that we have to become transcendental to this and understand, hey, I'm doing this for Krishna, this is not so important? Or is this for us as the group of Sankirtanis an important thing that it has to be a fair game, especially in the marathon? Shall we?
You have to be what?
It should be a fair game in connection with these things.
That's, to be honest, I have a hard time to relate to this. Competition is good. Prabhupada encouraged competition. The hippies were very disturbed, because one of the rules of hippie life was no competition. We are all one and the same, and and no competition. And Prabhupada liked that. He even instigated that. He came to Los Angeles temple and he said, yeah, San Francisco temple is really big. And they were like, what? He played the temples against each other even. But he also clearly explained that competition is taking place even in a spiritual world. And spiritual competition is that if somebody is better like me, I praise him. Material competition means if somebody is better like me, I try to finish him off, stop him. So there's a difference. But when it comes to points, and I was myself heavily tested. For some years I was number 1. And I got used to it. And it drove me, not to dominate the others, but it was nice. It was nice. We had a rule here in Germany that whoever is distributing most books Saturday night, the results were counted, he can do the Mangal Artik for Madhana Mohan in the morning, even being not a pujari. That was the only time I was on the altar, actually. There was Astarata Prabhu, he was a top pujari. So I was shocked. I am me pujari on the altar. I said, what shall I do here? And he looked at me pragmatically and he said, there is these things on a plate. So he showed me, you grab this and do so many circles like that and put it back again. And I said, but you are chanting so many mantras. I don't know any mantra. And he said, just chant Hare Krishna. And I told him, but I'm not purified enough. He said, you were the whole week on Sankirtan, you are completely purified. That was the logic those days. So I was every Sunday I was there with the ghee lamp, with Madan Mohan, And I offered it to the devotees, to all the competitors. Because I knew that guy is number one, because he was an altar. So that was the mood. We were young boys, But one thing, on a certain point, and Krishna really tested me. I became sick, more sick, frequently sick, because we really mistreated the bodies. What we did with our bodies nowadays, I cannot even explain to you what we did with that. It's quite amazing what a body you can do with it, I could teach you how to take showers on the frozen lakes, in the morning, how so that your feet don't freeze to the ice, that hurts. And, I can teach you how to eat in the morning for breakfast, one frozen apple, frozen yogurt, and peanuts. That was the, Nobody had kitchen in a car in the beginning. Kitchen, it was like getting married, No. It was just some boxes with some, with some muesli and some frozen yogurt, and that was it. And that was advanced level. In a very early stage, there was nothing. So I asked Hansa-Tutta, I asked him, what shall I eat on Sankirtan? And he said, buy yourself a pretzel. That was the only instruction I said. And then I wanted to buy a pretzel, but they always told me, no, we are monks, we are not buying anything. We are begging. You have to beg for the pretzel. So it became a customary that every morning we chanted our rounds. And 6 o'clock in the morning we discovered all the bakeries are open. They are very early open. So we went to the bakeries. We are monks, we are hungry. And they had the bread from yesterday and all this, they were going, oh, no problem. And they gave us bags of, bread and all kinds of things. So there was, we ate that. We offered it. Offering us another thing. I mean, there were so many foul ideas flying in the early days. One devotee came up with the idea, Krishna eats through the mouth of a brahmana. So we are all brahmanas, right? So we don't have to offer anything because he eats all of this through our mouth. Foul idea, Ekadashi, nobody knew Ekadashi exists. Nobody knew. So we had this bread and all, and then we got tired of the bread. And somebody discovered, around the same time, opened the sweet shops, konditorei. So we're going, we are hungry monks. And they had all the cakes and everything from yesterday, And they were going, okay, cakes, really heavy cake. And we knew with no eggs, that we knew. We're going, there are eggs inside, and they were going, no, and gave it all to us. Oh, we became expert in cakes, Schwarzwälder Kirsch, wow, that was really something. It would end up in a situation where in the morning you saw brahmachari sitting on the benches in the park taking prasadam. One bench, one brahmachari, and lots of cakes. And they were just, we just lived from cakes. That was until Harikesha came. And he said, what are you doing here? He came straight from Prabhupada, Prabhupada's servant. He said, what are you doing? You are nuts. This is not prasadam here. But we are enthusiastic on Sankirtan, la 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 la. And he said, yeah, but still you are crazy. So he established every car a kitchen, and he was heavy. There was no even kami spaghetti. There was no kami, of course, bread, cakes, everything finished. We were like, oh. Every car had a kitchen, That was a revolution. And we had cooking, and he was teaching, he was showing how to make kitri and breadsticks. That was instead of bread. It was a whole cooking thing. We were like, of course we liked it, it was nice. But we were thinking, this is like hedonistic, this is too fancy, You have to eat frozen yogurt. That's really Sankirtan, Because why? Because we will all die on Sankirtan. That was the mood. Let's die here. It's amazing what the body can take, you know. It's but I end up being so sick, and that's where the test came. I was not the number one anymore. There were others coming up who were like not sick. It was heavy to take. And I realized I'm used to this, and you know, and I felt like failure. You know, I'm not number one. You know how many pneumonias I had. The doctors told me 1 pneumonia more, and you will die because you are resistant to antibiotics. You know, things like that. We drove it to the max. So, yeah. So what is the result? I'm just happy I'm here. I'm happy I can go out and give out a few books. I'm happy I have association with Sankirtan devotees. This is all pure ecstasy to me. This is the result from all the points. I don't know even how many points I get in this marathon. But I'm happy I'm here. And this is going to come to everybody, to you. You know. So it's great. But when you see like Sankirtan Prabhu, sorry, I'm again, same address, I don't think he's going out to be number one. This is not his priority. He goes out to simply please his spiritual master. That's it. Now how it turns out to be, that's individual. Krishna sees, he's a person. There was one beautiful thing devotees told me in the early days when I joined. Krishna doesn't see what you are giving, he sees what you are hiding. That was like, I never forgot that one. So, you know, that's what comes out on Sankirtan. So all glories to the big numbers and big bushes and marathon and everything. Oh boy, I could say now something so controversial, you wouldn't believe it. It was in Sweden, of course. When I came to Sweden in 1986, winter was 3 months, minus 30. You know? Everything frozen. Cars, devotees, books, you know, yeah. The books were frozen, you know. Minus 30, everything is freezing. People are jumping on the street like this, you know. And you distribute. And sometimes you want to say something. You cannot. The frost just took your voice away. Devotees, I mean, brutal. And devotees were, you know, still distributed. Some devotees distributed in dhoti. Yeah, but underneath their skiing outfit, you know. Yeah. It looks terrible, you know. It's like skiing outfit, and then they look like, you know, they look like ballerina, you know. It's like, you know. But some of them are like this. And then most of them, they skip the whole thing. Because by minus 30, you really, even with the best outfit, you are, after 3 hours out there, you are really finished. So you're distributing from the shopping house, and you find out, everywhere shopping house, they blow the hot air, the ventilation out. So you go there out there, you warm yourself out of this hot, stinky air, and then you run again. Just bam, 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 and then again back, you know, like this. Crazy. I mean, just, and cars breaking down, not able to start, you know, going in the ditches, snowstorms, frozen things. So I got enough of this. That was after 15 years of Sankirtan in Germany and all this. So I went to Hare Krishna. I said, do we have to do this? Who started the whole thing? Prabhupada didn't start the Christmas marathon, sorry. You know, it was started in America. Why? Well, first of all, there is much of America not so cold in Christmas. Second of all, it's a huge, huge shopping orgies, I would call it, with these thousands of Santa Claus running around, ha, 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 you know. And people are more charitably inclined. I understand that, and they are more like that. What is this to do with Europe? What is this to do with Sweden? You know, yeah. And look the result. Even there were big results actually. Devotees were so determined, you know. They were out there, mere minus 30, just incredible. Prabhupada wrote actually a letter admiring the Sankirtan devotees for, not for the number of books, but how cold it is and they are out there. There's a letter from Prabhupada like this. So, I mean, and we lost some cars, always flopped over. I remember one Mataji, we had fortunately in Sweden good cars, American cars, Dodge, you know, and Chevys, it's heavy cars. So she went into the ditch, turned the car up, came back again on the wheels again and kept on driving, you know. With Mataji's going like this in a car, you know. Nothing happened really, the car had a scratched roof. So things like that happen all the time. And I told him, do we have to do it? This is just... And January was the dead month. Everybody is sick, lying somewhere, you know. So when you take the numbers of books being distributed, it kind of didn't level out. It kind of leveled out, that's it. So I told him, why don't we make a summer marathon? And he fully agreed. He said, yeah, why not? Now if it was only for Sweden, I don't know. So we did the winter marathon, but 1 week, like, that's it. And then we did a big summer marathon. In summer, in Sweden, people freak out, they leave the cities even. Everybody is hanging, and we knew exactly where they go. This, you know, resort areas and all these tourist areas. It was warm. We were bathing in the lakes. We were sleeping in the cars. And we distributed lots of books in the summertime. So I'm not making here some revolution, okay? It's a completely established tradition that everybody has to freeze to death, you know, in marathon. You know, okay. It's wonderful that there is, you know, such an attempt done, but I got my doubts, you know, sometimes. He said, hey, I cannot even open my car, it's frozen. In summer, I have no problem. We can sleep outside sometimes, you know. So, you know, but the wonderful thing is, I am all in favor of marathons and whatever can push forward and enhance the book distribution, great. And people need organized things like that. So today, you know, and now, and get yourself on the list. Hare Krishna, he had one mantra at the end towards this. He said, just get yourself on the list, to encourage those who were just thinking, well, I just did only 5 books. You know. When you have many devotees doing out there 5 books, it's really something. Therefore, I'm speaking about Sankirtan culture. It's something everybody should do. And I can really say it boldly because Prabhupada writes in one letter, I want every member of the Hare Krishna movement to know the art of book distribution. Now you may think this was conditioned by the time and circumstances. No, it's not. It's the mood, Prabhupada said. I could quote you letters from Prabhupada which are in today's light sometimes even controversial. He wants leaders going out. Out, books. Now somebody say, oh, you know, we are old men now, isn't it? I envision a whole Sankirtan party on wheelchairs. And I tell you, if you ever distribute book from a wheelchair, it's great. First of all, you don't have to carry the books, they are stored underneath. And second of all, who will not stop for an old man with a wheelchair going, you know, excuse me. Once in Denmark, he's still a wonderful Sankirtan devotee. I found a boy on a street in Denmark while distributing books. He looked like Bob Marley, you know, like this. A perfect rapper. He was just rapping for people. And he said something about reincarnation. I could hear. I was going, whoa. So I gave him a 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. When he was finished, next week he was in a temple, next week he joined. And for him to go on Sankirtan was a joke, because he was on the street all the time already. You know, so a wonderful devotee, really. And then he got some problems. I don't want to go in detail what problems it was, but he had to go in a wheelchair for a little while. So I took him on street with a wheelchair. I was a driver and he was like, talking to people. It was so great. At the end he learned himself to roll and stop people and distribute. He was doing that. It was so great that when he could walk later on, he was still in a wheelchair. And he got trouble out of that. Because there's a man in a wheelchair, please can you give a little bit. And then people see in the evening he folds the wheelchair together and goes home. So we had to stop this. I told him, this is enough. This is getting really trouble. So he had to stop this. But he said, it was great. So I envision a party of 70 years old men going on wheelchairs out there. Why not? Maybe I will get some 2 disciples so they can push the wheelchair,
Yes.
Something like that. One disciple pushing, another one, one disciple is enough. Just pushing wheelchair. Why not? It's why not? Just imagine somebody tells me, it's serious. You will die in 1 month. Just imagine to distribute like this. You go out in a wheelchair, you say, please can you take the book because I will die in 1 month, and this. It sounds quite convincing, I mean, it cannot be stopped if you don't want it to stop. The only one who can stop this is us, here, in the head. Mothers with children. Oh my God, this is powerful. I saw a mother with a child. I'm not saying now, this is the standard. But I saw a mother with a child, and there the Gita's underneath. It's the trolley, So she goes, hey, excuse me, with the trolley, The guy stops and she goes, we have a nice books here and, and looking always on a baby. And people go, oh, really? You have babies too? And yeah, I'm baby. And she could give a little bit, babies eat, and it's easy. It brings completely different level. I saw mothers carrying babies like this. And the baby has an invitation card. And she has the books. And she turns the baby and the baby goes out with the invitation card like this. People take the invitation card, bang, there's a book coming behind. There's a photo of myself distributing with my daughter around the neck. I have a pretty heavy neck, no problem. I was the whole day with her out. It was in the winter. She was packaged, she saw my head and was holding like this on her head. And my daughter never walked because I carried her all the time. So, she started to walk, I think she was 5 years old or something like that. So she said, why should I walk? He's carrying me all the time. My daughter is not foolish, just why not? So I had her around the neck. It was one of the most funny Sankirtan days, I remember always, Going to people, there's a photo of me with with hair on the neck and going, with 5 people standing around me. And when I was going, okay, then they took some books and they gave some donation. I was going like, he said, today I have my treasurer here. She's sitting up there. Can you give a little bit more? And she was always watching what I'm doing down there. And people were like laughing. They were going, oh, the treasurer is here. Okay, I mean, you can use anything, whatever. What? If you want to. And if you think, what will people say? Don't worry. We are weird people anyway. It doesn't matter. You cannot hide a devotee. So why not just be a devotee and go out there and do it? And especially nowadays, we have such a sync with mothers with babies and all this kind of stuff. We couldn't even think previously. We were just a bunch of brahmacharis, in the early days. And now anybody can do that. Why not? Try it out. And if somebody goes, I don't know, and I feel like I am not qualified, then find somebody you can go without. He will show you. And we have now these wonderful examples of devotees who will be only enthusiastic to go, come on, come in. I mean, he's taking babies out, Yeah? He's taking this kind of boys out. So why not you? Why not me? Why not him? Everybody can try this out. But we have this concept. We were growing up with this concept and we carry it into Krishna consciousness. Well, I am this. I'm a senior Vaishnava. I cannot kind of get humiliated on a street like that, I'm a senior Vaishnava. I have so much knowledge that I don't know anymore what to do. Come, blessing. Well, you cannot go on Sankirtan like this, that's for sure. You have just to give it up. Just leave it behind. Okay. Senior Vaishnava, well, let's see who is senior here. Let's see on Sankirtan who is senior. I know this is a little bit challenging and it'll be considered controversial, but senior to me is one who is doing more devotional service like me. That's senior. And if he is 12 years old, I don't care. There are devotees here, or I took devotees out, I realized that in a certain age, it could be my son, actually. Why not? No. This is a serious devotee. He's going out distributing books. Who is senior? So I don't buy this senior, so senior this, senior that. Just because I was eating prasadam longer like the others, or what? I'm senior devotee, You know how much maha I was eating in my life? Come on. So what is actually senior? Senior means, we have examples of Devahuti and her son, Kapila, What's her son? Well, he was senior. Senior in knowledge, senior in realization, and senior in service performance. I'm getting a little bit too controversial maybe, but for me it makes sense. I'm just explaining, woman, there's a woman. Well, she's distributing lots of books. Sorry, I don't see a woman. No, of course there's a woman. I can see a woman, but but she is just doing incredible service. So that's important. And the woman think, don't worry, next lifetime it can change. The big man, well, be careful. Next lifetime, who knows what? If a big man preaches only to Matajis, next lifetime you can become a Mataji, why not? And the Matajis joining this movement, sometimes I was wondering, in Sweden it happens like this. You think, who is the man, who is the woman here? You get confused. Because the men act like women and the women act like men. This actually in Kali Yuga becomes quite evident. The men are like, I have to think about this. I don't know. I have some doubts. And the women are like, bang, let's do it. Come on. Wake up. So you think, this is a little bit strange. This Kali Yuga, I'm not saying it's happening here, but I know locations where preaching is exclusively conducted by women. I don't mind. Sorry, but people are inspired, people are fired up, and as long as the lady doesn't preach some nonsense, and I'm not speaking about this is some feminism, not at all. I am not feminist, but they are just embracing Krishna consciousness. They are embracing preaching. They are embracing devotion. What's the big deal? Same thing for man. Whoever is more inspired to preach and present Krishna consciousness, that's a senior Vaishnava, to me. I don't know anything else to say, and I found it quite confirmed by Prabhupada. Prabhupada had such an ocean of mercy for the Sankirtan devotees. He was merciful to everybody, but when Sankirtan devotees came in, Prabhupada just got a big smile. He said, "Come in." That's reported, and Sankirtan devotees enjoyed it. They knew. Now we are very close to Prabhupada. They enjoyed that. Prabhupada said, "So how much? What did you get for it? Good profit? Good profit?" You know? And they were like, now we are very close to Prabhupada. That's how I feel when I go out on the street. I still I'm not very merciful to the karmis, really not. It's when I see this stupidity around me, it's like, sometimes you get enough, you think, oh, this is really so stupid. You know? I mean, for me, going on the street, I look like, what are they doing here? You know, like, they ask me sometimes, well, you're still in Krishna consciousness 50 years and this, and you never wanted to do something else or what? And I go, what? Give me an idea. Please tell me something. Maybe I will bloop immediately, But tell me something. They have nothing to say, these people. They just, or they say something far out, something so stupid that they know even it's stupid. I just start to laugh and they go, okay, let's not talk anymore. It's what do you want to do out there? Sorry. It's really good for nothing. It's all meant to be defeated. People work so hard for nothing. And again. I mean, this stupidity is really divine, It's unbelievable. Any common sense man will say, Prabhupada gives a beautiful example in this regard. There's a man standing on a street, smashing his head against the wall. And people go, what is he doing? Bang, bang, bang. And they ask, why? What are you doing? Stop it. Why are you smashing the head against the wall? And he goes, because when I stop for a few minutes, it feels so good. And then keeps on smashing the head again. That's Kami life in a nutshell. It's so, sorry. I mean, if somebody doesn't believe it, go ahead and try it out. And even in Krishna consciousness, we have our regulated fields for experiments. At the end of the life, at least what I can say, I go back to the biggest treasure I got in my life. And that was Sankirtan, book distribution. That never goes away. I was temple president. I managed so many things. Sorry, please, I don't want to discourage anybody. But most of the things I managed in my life, established temples, anything, I did these things. It's all gone. It's all destroyed. It's all gone. In certain areas. Therefore I feel so inspired here in Simhachalam, because it's not gone. It's still here. And we have a generation continuation here. This is so amazing to see. It's very rare. In most of the ISKCON temples I come in, there's a temple president, but I know next year there's another one. Probably. And it's going buck, 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 buck. And sometimes you can be happy there's a temple at all. It is like that. Sorry, this is reality. But what remains is the books. The books are out. The books are preaching. They are out there. For those who want to pick them up, open a page. Prabhupada said when they read only one page, one word, their life can change. So this is so valuable. And this is such a permanent, contribution to spreading Krishna consciousness. Without diminishing any other service. It's all great. Any attempt to spread Krishna is great. But this is permanent. This stays. You do something so valuable. We will all go. Sorry. Even Sankirtan Prabhu looks to me, he will distribute forever. But I think one day he's also gone. Simply dying, you know. We're all dying. But the books will stay. This is so wonderful. Okay. I'm misusing the fasting time. Hey, want to say something? If you don't want
It's
that.
amazing, your attitude, how you always come to the point. And the conclusion is, the conclusion is to have fun. That is blowing my mind.
But the fun in Krishna consciousness is absolutely not that fun what people define to be fun in a material world. We have one condition. Tapodivyam. First comes tapasya, then comes the fun. And that's what most people don't accept. They want to have fun immediately. Preya and Shreya, you know, this. You know, there's an instant pleasure and there's a long-term pleasure. But that long-term pleasure is derived after austerity. So
what is our fun is to share our realizations. How you explaining your realizations,
yeah.
taking prasadam and sharing our realizations. That's our fun.
And what do the demons and Mayavadis do? They cut down the communication. You know? Yeah. This is demoniac policy in all totalitarian regimes and everything. They divide people. They cut down the communication because people collecting themselves in unpredictable fashion, sharing things, it's not controllable, you know. So demons hate this because they always want to have the ultimate control. So there's two things demons do. Instigate fear. Some fear has to be there. Some danger. Prabhupada explained like that. They create crisis even. Even they do crisis. They create even war. Just to make people scared. And then they enter the scene like the saviors. So people take shelter in them. That's in essence what happened. Cold War was like that. I tasted both. I was born behind the border there, Czechoslovakia. Every day when I was going to school was taught the capitalists, the imperialists are coming. They will attack us, it will be war. We have to get ready. So therefore, let's take shelter under the Soviet Union, you know, Russia. They will give us all the shelter we need. That was the mood. When I was 13 years old, my parents immigrated to West Germany. And I started to go to West German school. What did I go to hear? The communists are attacking. The atomic war is coming. We have to get ready. You know, watch out. Take shelter in America. America, America. You know? And I thought, I know this trip. I heard it somewhere before, but in a different version, you know. So by the age of 16, I didn't believe anybody one word. I thought this is just a stupid game. And when I found it defined then by Prabhupada, it was amazing. He defined all these things, he explained all these things, how it works. He said even you can judge the advancement of your Krishna consciousness, how much you are not fearful. Absence of fear. This is how you can judge yourself. When you are afraid of what? What are you actually afraid of? To be insulted? To grow old? It happen automatically. To die? Definitely it will happen. So what are you actually afraid of? There's some fear. And this was my first realization when I met 1974 Prabhupada in Frankfurt airport when he landed. It was the first time I saw Srila Prabhupada. I always get a little bit emotional. Go back. It was a momentum. I missed the whole show. I was parking a car, you know, it's a whole story to it. So they made a VIP launch for Prabhupada, really, with Vyasa-san, everything, right there on the airport. Prabhupada gave a lecture there. And then I came running, you know, parking the car. Prabhupada was just finished the lecture, more or less. I just saw him. I never experienced such an absence of fear like at that moment. I couldn't care less about some Frankfurt and some airport or, about anything. It was just me and Prabhupada. And I was thinking, I realized that most of my life I was just afraid of something. I couldn't even define sometimes what it is. So this is what you experience when you come in touch with pure devotee. An absolute absence of fear. And what is the result? You become happy. Because what is diminishing our happiness is fear. Maybe this will happen, and and who knows what, and we go back to the competition thing, okay? It should never degrade to the platform of fear. What about if I don't achieve this amount of books? What about if I am not the first one? What about if I don't get my points? Well, this is a wrong attitude. Abhayam, fearlessness. This is actually the quality of it. That's how Prabhupada manifested. Fearlessly going on that boat, dying there almost. Fearlessly entering a country which he never saw before. Never understood what they are doing there. Having only one security. Krishna is there. My spiritual master gave me this instruction. And that's it. I can live or die here. I don't care. But I am going to do to the end of my life at least this. And suddenly things become very simple, It's very simple. So fear is, it's a sign. It's simply Maya. Maya just going, and you go, whoa. And nothing happened actually. Maya goes, but just imagine it would happen. Huh? My grandmother was like this. My grandmother was always crying, Oh, we will become poor. I remember her only like this. I never liked that woman, anyway. So, always. And since I can remember, I revolted against it, but I had no option. I just, Even today, I tell you quite honestly, I cannot deal with fearful people. Because there is no rationality to it. That we have fear, I understand. But we can explain in Krishna consciousness how to get rid of fear. How will I survive next year? Now I say, Grihastha is difficult. You have responsibility, family, all this. That's tough. Because it's not just about you. But when it comes down to me, I don't know how I will survive next year. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm doing here. They invited me here, so I came here. So, it's great. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's fantastic. But maybe next year they will not invite me. Or I don't know. That's the reason why I like to travel with a car. Because I don't have to bother anybody. And if they throw me out, then I can travel again. Bye-bye. Yeah, because I'm used to it. I'm used to being invited and being disinvited. Yeah. I make jokes. This is Czech, This is Czech. You have to be Czech to understand that. When they ever rolled up the red carpet, Senior Vaishnava, Prabhupada disciple coming, If you want to get a full taste of it, you have to go to Russia. It's really great. In Russia, I become incarnation of something which without even knowing how it happened. They call me Maharaj and all this. I go, Maharaj. You know what Maharaj means? It's not me. Sorry. India also. India and Russia are great places. You can be pure devotee in 3 days. It's no problem. So, they always roll up the carpet. It's nice. It's a nice culture, It's nice. They roll the red carpet, and I always tell them, I know these red carpets. At the end of every red carpet, there's a garbage container, you know that? I know that, because I tasted both. So, so I don't really rely on these things, okay? I like it when devotees are nice, and this is very pleasant, but it can change, it can mean, I don't know. It's, after a while, you don't pay attention really much to this. I'm just grateful anytime I can sit down and talk about Prabhupada or Sankirtan. This is this is, I'm at home. This is my home. And the rest of the time is just survival, basically. We chant and then we eat and la la la. It's just a survival time. But even that can become very, very nice when you're actually seeing everything in connection with Prabhupada. Prabhupada gave us such an optic, such an eyes. Then everything becomes suddenly very interesting. It's all Krishna's. Krishna made it. How did he made it? Wow. Even when you meet a profoundly stupid person, you think, my God, how did he manage to become so stupid? That's divine, it's empowered. He's empowered to be such an idiot. Because you cannot explain nothing. He will not understand. It's taken away from him. It's unbelievable. Most people are in a medium state. They know even what's wrong, but they are lazy to do something about it. Mandan, it's called. They are lazy. They know we are going to die. They know the world is crazy, actually, quite crazy, but they know that. But they will do nothing about it. Yeah?
So we need to slowly wind it down, and I think there's one more question, and then maybe we could do maximum until half. So 10 more minutes, and then we can stop, because at 11 we'll continue with the kirtan. We need to prepare something. So I think Shireen Mataji want to ask something.
Hare Krishna. My question was that you said a sentence, it was a very deep sentence, that sometimes instead of worshipping the soul, we end up worshipping the false ego. And so my question is, how do we differentiate between the two? How to know when we're doing which one? And then once we differentiate that, how we can focus our energies on just solely worshipping the soul?
No.
I didn't got really the can somebody got it? Can somebody summarize or voice it?
Yeah, you mentioned at a certain point that we are worshipping not the soul, but the mind, the false ego, something like that. You mentioned that. And she's asking, how do we differentiate between worshipping really the soul or worshipping the ego, whatever?
Worshipping what?
The ego, the false ego, or
ego. Yeah.
And how do we then also apply it?
Well, false ego is easy to recognize. It's just me and mine. It's a sense of possession. And that can be colored even in Krishna consciousness, okay? I became now great devotee, and then you still claim proprietorship over certain things. You claim control. You claim this. But it's all self-centered, false ego. So to enhance such a thing, it's not very charitable. Therefore we accept spiritual master. That's, Guru is called heavy. Otherwise there's no use to accept spiritual master, really. Let's say practically, you want some knowledge on this, we have books, you can read. But spiritual master is a person who is entitled, and this is his duty, to find faults in disciple, point them out, and warn him, be careful of this. This is a gradual process. This is not possible, you cannot break like disciple over leg, this doesn't work. But gradually, also according to the growing capacity of the disciple to accept instruction, then the spiritual master becomes more direct. If a disciple is sincere, he welcomes such a treatment. He thinks this is great. Because a real devotee, he feels like, yeah, I am crazy, you know. Now, how crazy? I don't know. Now, you find somebody who will tell you, yeah, this is crazy. And you felt it already, but you didn't have words for it. You couldn't define it. Or you can have misconceptions about Krishna consciousness. Krishna is very heavy in a third chapter of Bhagavad Gita, saying, don't imitate others. Grow on your own in Krishna consciousness. Don't even perfectly imitate somebody. Rather, with force, act according to your nature. This is very clear. Krishna doesn't like hypocrites, even so-called spiritual hypocrites. So for this, spiritual master is needed. This is his function. And he will guide the disciple, more and more towards the path where he frees himself more or less from the false misconceptions which are generated from the false ego. And when you are really sincere, you pray for it. You want it. My best well-wishers in my life were those who actually were constructively criticizing me, not praising me. Praising, yeah, is great. Yeah. But if somebody show me what an idiot I am in a constructive way, that's very beneficial. I give an example. The previous GBC here, he knew me 25 years. Until today, whatever is now happening, but I'm grateful to him. He knew me, even from genetical point of view. My grandfather is a German. I'm born in Czechoslovakia. So he looked at me compassionately once, and he said, "You are half German, half Czech. That's the worst." And I knew exactly he's right. I can become a very cynical, Hitler. Horrible combination. Germans generally, they have no sense of humor, sorry. And Czechs, they just live from a sick humor, as I described before. So when you combine it, it's terrible. Absolutely not useful in Krishna consciousness. Cynicism is anyway not very useful. It's discouraging, it's insulting, it's offensive eventually. So it's not good. I know how to do that. So he warned me, be careful about that one. And I never forgot this. Yeah. So that's just one example. There is even one devotee who realized how much it depends on Prabhupada's guidance, in Prabhupada's presence. It's amazing. And he said, very innocently, in the early days, "Prabhupada, what will I do when you are not here? Who will tell me? Who will guide me?" And Prabhupada first explained, there is Diksha Guru, the one who gives initiation, and then is Shiksha Guru, one who gives advice. That's not so binding, but he is very helpful with advice, can be. But he couldn't understand it. He was a new bhakta, He was like, "Prabhupada, you said there is only one Guru, now there are two?" So Prabhupada knew he doesn't get it. Then he looked at him very seriously, look in his eyes, and he said, "You have to understand one thing. I can speak to you through anybody. You understand? Through anybody." And that good brother of mine, he said, when Prabhupada left and throughout my life, I realized how right Prabhupada was. I got sometimes advices from, and even today, I learn from devotees. I see, and they say sometimes so amazing things. You go, hey, this is really Krishna conscious. I will always remember that one. So Prabhupada can speak to you through anybody. But we don't have to make it so complicated. We have so much recorded from Prabhupada. We have his books, we have his lectures, and so much. So it's just study, and then these kind of questions come up. And then you will see. what the false ego is and what real is, how to become not just a designated devotee, but a real devotee. In the beginning, you have no other chance. Okay? We put the tilak on and you go, I am a devotee. Hare Krishna, you know. And it's always funny to watch new devotees. They are like very concerned with the details and with the outlook, social outlook. You know? Yeah? Yeah. I have no sari and I have no this and I have to look very chaste. How do you look chaste? I never was chaste in my whole life, you know. So how do you look chaste? So they learned it. You know, this kind of things is kind of external. But it's good. It's a good idea. It's a good start. But you cannot stay with that. In a process of purification, then comes the real things up. You know? Especially on Sankirtan, when you do this book distribution, that's a fast process. You realized, I used to think I'm very Brahminical, but today I would like to really slap somebody in the face because 2 hours I was not distributing any book anymore. Rascals, demons, pooh! You know, suddenly you realize, I am angry, I am lusty, I am envious. All these things come up. Therefore, Prabhupada was so lenient towards Sankirtan devotees because he knew they are getting heavy cleared up every day. It's a heavy cleaning process. There is no place for pretenders on Sankirtan. Sorry, you will be exposed. But in general, in Krishna consciousness, we didn't came here to play some games. You know, like I mentioned a little bit about senior Vaishnava. Prabhupada disciple. You know what I tell people? They go, oh, Prabhupada disciple. I go, I hope so. Because I am only Prabhupada disciple to the degree I follow Prabhupada. To the degree I don't follow, I am not Prabhupada disciple. Sorry. So I ask people, please challenge me. Come on. If I say something which is not coming from Prabhupada, I cannot back it up with Prabhupada, then I am in a very dangerous zone. You know, once Sandifi's guest realized it, and he asked me, so if you are quoting all the time and speaking about him and what he said that, but what is your opinion? You know, and I look at him, I was going, oh, my opinion? No. And he was shocked, because he was under the impression already that we are all a little bit brainwashed, you know, just repeating, quoting. And now I fully confirm that. I told him, my opinion. You know, I don't have any opinion. I joined this movement to give up my opinions. You know how many opinions I had before I joined this movement? Many. Ideas. I was an artist. Artist means there's no limit to opinions and visions. I thought I'm so unique, so distinct, and the only problem is there's all these idiots who don't understand that. Unrecognized artists. There's a class of people which I'm entirely allergic to until today, because I come from that. This pathetic, unrecognized artist. Therefore, I stopped artist. I didn't do this anymore. I know how to paint. I don't know how to. I have artistic vision. I can tell you what is nice, and you know, I know this. I can appreciate nice art. But I don't do this because it's all done by very specifically puffed up, egocentric people. Otherwise you cannot be an artist. So all this is gone in Krishna consciousness. All gone. No designations, you know. It's luxury, I tell you. It's really luxury to be just Prabhupada ki jaya, you know. And anything, even you don't hear it. I'm not very shastric person in that sense. I don't pump the shlokas out, you know, on this. But anything what I say, it's backed up by Prabhupada. Otherwise I wouldn't be daring to say something like that. I can quote you. And Prabhupada said different things on this, different in managerial sense, not in philosophical sense, in managerial sense. So we can have a discussion. You know, somebody may say, but I heard Prabhupada said like this. Under this, and I can say, okay, that's already a good way to discuss. Yeah, let's discuss what Prabhupada said. Great. Outside of that, I have no discussion. When devotees come up with something else, or they want to discuss it, I don't know what they are talking about. Sorry, I don't think this is very, this kind of, nowadays is very, sometimes propagated. Prabhu, you have to associate, and you have to reveal yourself. What do you feel? What do you think? You know, that's important. What do you really feel? What do you think? Then I always feel like, well, I feel and I think I should go to the toilet or something like that, you know. I really feel it. And that's what I think. I mean, it's so pathetic. And it's changing all the time, because next minute I feel and think something else. Then I come out of the toilet and I feel and think something completely different. I mean, you know, we want to conduct our relationship on that platform. Come on. No wonder we get confused. So that's it. Thank you. I don't want to
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Manidhar Prabhu ki jai. Bhajendra Kumar Prabhu ki jai. Gaura Bhaktavinda ki jai. Thank you very much. Thank you also for all the devotees who stayed 2 hours, 2-hour lecture, 2.5 hours. Thank you very much. So we will start with the kirtan a little bit later. So we have like 1 hour break now, so we can prepare everything here and also make a nice kirtan schedule. So if you want to sing in the kirtan, please let me know. The kirtan is not fixed yet. So please approach me and we can give you half an hour or 15 minutes to sing kirtan for the Lord. We will start at 11.